Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my show, The Counter Narrative. The world has been shaken up to its core, particularly the Middle East and the Muslim countries. Reason being is the unprecedented military operation which Hamas launched in the southern parts of apartheid state of Israel. Now there are three aspects of the crisis which we need to look at. First, about the scope of military operation and what are the real objectives behind military operation which Hamas has launched. The second aspect of the crisis is about the unfolding humanitarian crisis, which is again unprecedented. What are the real objectives, military objectives of Israel, what Israel intends to do, and in what manner Hamas is going to deal a new crisis in Gaza, how it is going to respond back to Israel when it would possibly launch ground offensive. And very important is the third aspect of this crisis, and that is the timing of this entire military operation. Why at this particular point of time Hamas opted to launch this military operation. Joining me in this show is one of the spokesperson of Hamas, Dr. Khalid Kadumi, who is going to discuss these three aspects of this major crisis that Middle East has been going through. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid Kadumi sir, for joining my show. If I could begin by asking, what are the real military objective of launching this operation against Israel? And what is the scope of this military operation? And what really you have achieved so far and what you intend to achieve?
Thank you for having me, Javed, in your show. Actually, the picture now in Gaza is a dual image. One image is the advancement of resistance and their achievements of their goals. Today, the enemy announced the killing of one of their senior generals who was part of those brigades of West Bank in the Israeli army. And then we have news about sirens in different Israeli settlements in the suburb of Gaza. Talk about
are you telling the general, the Israeli general who was killed by Hamas fighters?
Yes, Leon Bar. His name is General Leon Bar. Okay, he is one of the senior elites of the officers of the brigade of West Bank in the Israeli army. Then the sirens in different settlements in the suburb of Gaza, in Mifkaim, Kazmia, Zikim, also in the southern of Ascalon, what we call it Asqalan. Then there is a news that the rockets of resistance has destroyed 5 different buildings inside Sderot. And then also, for the first time, that the resistance is using a long-range rocket of 250 kilometers, which it has attacked precisely with success the headquarters of the northern region of the Israeli army. Having said that, it is added to the previous achievement since 7th of October of detaining many of Israeli soldiers in the hand of the resistance. Today, the Israeli government has announced that they have informed 120 Israeli families of the detention of their soldiers in the hand of Hamas. And then there were reports talking about more than 750 lost Israeli persons, including military and non-military, and then a lot of injured Israelis who are living in the settlements in this neighborhood of Gaza. When we talk about settlements, Javed, we are talking about an illegal entity according to the international law, and
yes.
It is included with the occupation forces. Even Europeans, even American themselves, they consider them illegal. And one of the major plans of President Obama, the American president,
the previous one,
the then American president, was to freeze and stop the settlements. So today the combat, the success of the resistance is that they are attacking on legal, legitimate targets that already have created a lot of crimes against our people for the last 75 years and the settlement since 1967. So this is one side which is very bright, and we are
But
proud of
let me add another question. At how many locations right now Hamas is actively has launched a military operation deep inside southern occupied territory?
Well, it's chaotic situation. We are receiving reports continuously and updated by the Izzuddin Qassam Brigade. The latest one was last time by Abu Ubaidah, the spokesman of Al Qassam Brigade, when he has confirmed that there is still combating processes against the Israeli enemy in more than 20 locations. Where initially this mission, this Tufan al-Aqsa, the flood of al-Aqsa, started in round about 50 locations. 20 they were in the front line, and another 13 in the back line. These are some military terminologies which I'm not very good in it, but I tell you that Abu Ubaidah has announced that the 4,500 Palestinian soldiers from Hamas has engaged already so far in this battle.
Inside the occupied territory?
Yes, yes.
So do you think the Israel...
They have used around about 12 different military strategies. As I told you, because I'm not a military man, so it is some sophisticated terminologies, but they use some 3,500 soldiers in advancement forces that they have attacked military bases, naval, air force, and the pedestrian headquarters inside the suburb of Gaza, in the suburb of Gaza, and also they were managing those 3,500 brigade. They were assigned special missions of ambush and other special missions in attacking some police stations, some military stations, and there were another 1,000 forces. They were assigned to attack over the logistic support which were expected to engage in the war to support the Israeli army forces from the Israeli army. And yes, and there is another 500 forces. They were technical experts who were assisting the drones in confusing the monitoring system of the enemy. Hence, the gliders, the other attacking forces, they were not intercepted. The missiles, the rockets of the resistance, they were not being intercepted by the arrow system or the Iron Dome system of the enemy. This is a really a golden time in the resistance against our enemy. This is a new era that we have introduced, that we can really do it. We can go forward for something. We can say liberation of our holy shrines, liberation of our Al-Aqsa Mosque, liberation of our land, liberation of our prisoners. Javed, this is very important to say it over here. We have 4,000 Palestinian heroes. They are freedom fighters, among them girls and children even below age of 12. They have been sentenced for many life sentences. Some of them, they are sentenced for 360 years. They are behind the Israeli bars.
And that is understandably your ultimate goal, to secure their release. But focusing on the military achievements, I am interested to know that how many among 4,000 soldiers of Hamas who were inside on the first day of the military operation, how many of them have returned to Gaza and how many of them are still there?
Well, we did not receive such details, but the surprising thing to me even, that yesterday we knew that those brigades, those fleets, they were changed. in the first 3 days we were having troops, and the troops, they were refreshed again. Some troops, they came back to Gaza. A new troop has entered into the settlements. That is, I mean, really something very successful in the hand of the resistance.
It appears quite extraordinary because the
Yes.
Israel has put in place, they have deployed hundreds of thousands of their army personnel just at the border of the Gaza, and they still have their movement back and forth. That appears to be something extraordinary. I don't want to get into those technical details, but I'm interested to know how did you manage to freeze the monitoring system of the apartheid state? Why forcing when Hamas fighters force their entry deep inside the southern parts?
Well, this is very sophisticated question, where I believe that I cannot go into its technical details. But what we have heard yesterday from the spokesman of Al-Qassam Brigade, they used drones and some IT experts that they were managing to jam the monitoring system. So there was a screen, cyber screen, to make the troops advance in a proper way to reach the depth of the occupied Palestinian areas and achieve their targets.
I think the scale at which there appears to be intelligence failure of the apartheid state, it is unprecedented, because there was a myth that the Israeli army, Israeli intelligence, Mosad, they have their men on ground. They have the human intelligence, they have the technical intelligence. They've been having the image of the entire Gaza. This is through the satellite. Nonetheless, they were failed to detect the movements of thousands of the members of the Hamas who forced their entry deep into Israel. That seems to be something extraordinary, and many people still have not got those response in the militarily tactical context. Anyway, let's move to the other side of the picture, which is the very big humanitarian crisis which is unfolding in Gaza. Israel has given warning to the people inside Gaza that they need to move from the northern part of the Gaza to the southern part, which means at least involving 1.1 million population. UN is saying that that is not humanly possible. How do you see these Israel's tactics they are applying? And what does it mean to people inside Gaza? And also, more importantly, what does it really mean to the Hamas fighters who are, I believe, still deep inside Gaza?
Well, actually, our enemy is perpetrating continuous crimes against our people. The occupation itself is the biggest crime to constrain the freedom of the people. The only colonial power remaining in this century from the old colonial era is the Israeli entity. But this is the way which has been imposed on us as Palestinian. We have only two tracks to live with. Either the international community, they do enough to pressurize the Israelis to abide by the law and finish the occupation, or we are left to this track that we defend ourselves. Hence, in this defensive process, you will expect a lot of sacrifices. Yes, this time with a lot of achievements, but still, it's a very worrying situation. It's a very humanitarian crisis, which has been created by this criminal entity, Israel. They failed to confront our mujahideen, our fighters, so they went to knock down the residential towers, to attack against children, to attack against families. They slain complete families. We have more than 25 families. They were slain totally. No father, no mother, no children, no first cousins. All of them, they have been wiped totally. It's ethnic cleansing offensive from the Israeli apartheid regime. Yes, it is devastating. It is human crisis. We have more than 1,500 plus shuhada, martyrs. We have more than 5,700 plus injured, more than
5,000?
35% among the
5,000 to 6,000?
5,700 plus. Yes.
So I think what are your expectations now that Israel is going to launch a ground offensive inside Gaza? Under what condition, military conditions, do you think Israel would be able to penetrate inside Gaza, or it is just more like a bluff? They're just trying to scare away the people inside Gaza, and they want to expel them to elsewhere and reoccupy the territory.
Yeah, see, reoccupation of Gaza is not a journey. They were not able to do it in 2014 when our experience was very less than today. Hence, we are ready to confront them. But on the other hand, it's the responsibility of the international community to first stop any endeavors to repeat the history of refugees and evacuation, compulsory evacuation of our people. That will not be allowed by the resistance and will not be allowed by our people. Second, to stop those atrocities, offensive target killing. They are murdering. They have smart ammunitions. They can target a chair in a room, but they didn't do that. They have done a massive, a random killing of a common man, a civilian in the street. Three, the international community has to pressurize the sites out in the neighborhood of Gaza to open the borders for the military, for the human aids. You know, even according to the international law today, uh, during the war, they open borders in order to allow the medical equipments, the medical help to get in, the humanitarian aids to get into the war zone and assist them. Not only this, you know, you are not allowed to go there to cover what is happening. The media people, any media correspondents, they are allowed inside the so-called Israeli territories, but they are not allowed to get into Gaza.
It appears correct. It appears, correct me if I'm wrong, that probably they don't want anybody inside Gaza, and then they want to launch a military offensive. Do you think even if that kind of scenario develops, Hamas fighters would be able to bounce back and to repel their attack?
I believe that the movement, when they have started this battle, they were planning it for long scale and long time. So we are expecting those scenarios. We are not avoiding in our analysis any of those scenarios. And I believe that the leaders of resistance are honest enough, are expert enough to carry such responsibilities.
How many hostages have been killed? None other than by the Israeli Air Force, because those hostages were inside the many of the plazas which have been hit hard by the Israeli Air Force. Any idea how many of them have died and have been killed by Israel?
Well, I would say, first of all, if you allow me, Javed, we should not say hostages. They are prisoners. You know, we
Yes,
are.
that is a correct term. I
It's
agree.
yeah, yeah. Sorry for correction, but it's important to us. That's one. Second thing, you know that Israeli army has activated Hannibal protocol. Hannibal protocol. It says that the Israeli army will not allow the enemy to get prisoners. So any Israeli soldier will be held by the in captivity. He has to be killed. This is by law, in their law. Just imagine, they will kill their own people. Till moment, what we have learned from Israeli sources, that 4 soldiers has been killed with their own captives.
And under what terms and condition Hamas would be willing to release those captives in return of what? Maybe securing your own hostages, prisoners, which are probably 6,000. They are languishing in Israeli jail.
You see, we did not enter into this time or this period yet. Still, the blood is on the ground. It's very big event which has happened. But yes, I refer you, sorry, to the statement of Abu Ubaidah, the spokesman of Al-Qassam Brigade, a couple of days ago, when he sent a message to the prisoners on media that we are having good news for you today. So that's, I mean, implicit by itself.
So let's move over to a bigger picture. The special military operation Hamas launched at a time when probably Saudi Arabia and many other countries, including perhaps Pakistan, they were doing their homework to recognize Israel. And everybody was thinking that the Palestinian cause have been abandoned by the Arab rulers. And many say that perhaps this military operation was aimed at scuttling that normalization process between Israel and the Arab countries and other Muslim countries.
See, this is one of the political goals which we have set it of this flood of Al-Aqsa. That Palestinian issue was planned to be forgotten. And Netanyahu, the extremist rightist leader of Israel, was saying, reiterating that I have nothing to do with the Palestinian. I want to normalize with the Arab, and Palestinian will be second-class citizens in what they have called it Jewish state over there. So yes, I tell you that many of the officials, many of the regimes, for their own personal narrow interests, they were planning. Some of them they gone. A couple of days, no, today in the morning, fleets of the fighter jets, American fighter jets, A-10, has landed in the airports of the Abu Dhabi. You never know that what is the role of those jets over there. The way the normalization process was continuous for the deal of century, Abrahamic record, it was needed an action to say loudly that we are here. Those efforts not to make our issue to be forgotten. You mentioned Pakistan. I do not agree to the notion that Pakistan can go against its own creed or its basic fundamentals of their own creation. I cannot imagine that Pakistan, which has been created on the foundations mentioned by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, rahimahullah, that can go for any inch further towards normalization with Israel. It's negating the reason of its existence. Hence, I do not agree that there were some decision makers who can go for such normalization. I remind my dear friends in Pakistan, my dear brothers and sisters with that Mujahid army who has participated in 6th of October 1973, side by side with the Syrian army and Egyptian army. They gave their blood on that battle against Israeli troops to free Al-Aqsa Mosque, to free our Serb rights and the Serb lands. I do not agree. I cannot imagine that Pakistan can go for that. Pakistani publics are different story. They are all of them. I have lived in Pakistan for many years. I have interacted with the Pakistani brothers and sisters. I didn't find except the high sentiments of the Pakistani people with Al-Aqsa, with Al-Quds, and with the Palestinian issue.
I wish that is the case. Let's hope that is the case. But anyway, let's move over to another question, which is that U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is in the region, and he's been having meetings with the Arab rulers, and he also met with the Palestinian leader, the president. And then, what is your understanding that what could be the possible agenda? I mean, there have been a lot of speculation that perhaps one of the plans behind the scene is to annex Gaza with Egypt and West Bank with Jordan. Do you think that it could be a possible part of the agenda of the discussion when Blinken is going to have meeting with the Arab leaders, particularly in Jordan and in Egypt?
This is a very analytical, deep question. I would say that even much before the Israeli government. It was Biden administration who has been embroiled in this war from day one, when they have felt the real threatening to their own project, which is Israel. And though they were in differences with Netanyahu, but not with the project, because it's not only Netanyahu today is in danger, it is the project of this Zionist entity. The Western project of Zionist entity is in danger. Hence, they have embroiled in this fight from day one to apply a lot of diplomatic pressures on many of the elites and officials in our region in order to take positions, if not condemning the Palestinian resistance, at least not to condemn the Israeli atrocities. And I think if we have witnessed in the beginning, the diplomatical stance in the official level was very modest and shy. But no, I will tell you that Blinken is not welcomed in the region. Blinken has visited the place where he is announcing from the continuity of this war against the region and against our own people and our own cause. I was saying over here, when the speech of Biden is being heard, I was just continuously observing that is it Biden who is speaking or it is Netanyahu who is speaking. This speech was really as if it has been written by those extremist, rightist fanatics like Ibn Gvir, Netanyahu, and Smotrich in Tel Aviv, and it was read by Biden. None of those, go and check it. None of those terminologies which has been used is relevant to any diplomatic or any international law which is being used to be used by those senior fellows in the American administration.
How long this
You know
war
that,
can
sorry,
possibly?
sorry for that. You know that even in the few hours after the speech of Biden, the White House has to jump in to say that whatever's been said by Biden is not expressing the decision of the American administration. It is the narration of Netanyahu, which Biden has to say it.
I think probably you are referring about the media reports of in Israel, Israeli media reports, which which propagated that Hamas had killed civilians, some of the
Yeah.
children, and that was repeated by the President Biden. And now the White House is distancing itself because the Israeli army is not confirming that the Hamas had killed the children during its operation. Anyway, we are coming to the last part of our interview. I'm interested to know what is your understanding, how long this war can last?
It's not time to talk about the length of this war. We are in the seventh day. Israel has created a devastating destruction in Gaza. Uh, I think that the resistance is in a process of responding to those atrocities. I think instead of engaging ourselves about the anticipation or an analysis of the length of this war, we should implement our efforts how to cherish the Palestinian resistance, or on the other hand, how to pressurize the Israeli criminals to stop their crimes against our common man and civilians inside Gaza.
How do you see the role of the OIC? And what are your expectations from the people in Muslim countries, and particularly in Pakistan? What appeal you would like to launch to them?
Well, actually, we are in new era in the Palestinian struggle against our Zionist enemy. It deserves from all officials and all countries in the Arab and Muslim world to change their stereotypical stance. Continuing talking about the two-state solution is something irrelevant of what really is happening today. When I find some countries saying two-state solution, it means that they are recognizing the Israeli entity. And today, Israeli entity is continuously killing us. There is deepening in polarization among rethink our own official position and proceed further to redesign our own stance to return the asserted rights, legitimate rights for the Palestinians.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid Saab, and I look forward to see you again in my next show. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments. What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.